Here's a detailed, up-to-date breakdown of Zoran Mamdani, his background, his campaign strategy, how he won, and what he's doing now/planning. I also clarify what the possibly mistaken idea of him defeating Donald Trump means in context. Who is Zoran Mamdani? Zoran Mamdani was born in 1991 in Kampala, Uganda, to academically and artistically notable parents. His father is Mahmoud Mamdani, a scholar. His mother is Myra Nair, a renowned film director. The family moved to New York when he was still young. He attended public schools in NYC, then went to Botoin College, graduating in 2014 with a degree in Africana Studies. Before entering electoral politics, Mamdani worked as a foreclosure prevention housing counselor in Queens, helping low-income homeowners. This experience gave him first-hand exposure to housing inequality and systemic issues in NYC. He's also been politically active for years. In college, he co-founded a chapter of Students for Justice in Palestine, reflecting early engagement in social justice, political beginnings and rise. Mamdani first ran for office in 2020 for the New York State Assembly, representing District 36 parts of Queens such as Astoria, Long Island City. He challenged and defeated a four-term Democratic incumbent in that primary to narrow win but significant upset. He took office starting January 1, 2021. He managed to get re-elected unopposed in 2022 and again in 2024, showing his base consolidated support. In the Assembly, he worked on issues around housing, tenant protections, eviction prevention, fair housing policies, public transit, and social justice. Leveraging his background as a housing counselor, campaigned for NYC mayoral race and winning big. What was his platform? When he launched his campaign for NYC Mayor 2025, his agenda was unapologetically progressive and democratic socialist. Rent freeze on rent-stabilized units plus building more affordable housing. Fair free public transit, especially city buses, to ease cost burdens for working-class New Yorkers. A $30 per hour minimum wage by 2030. City-owned grocery stores to lower food costs. Universal public childcare. Expanding public services aiming to reduce inequality and improve affordability. Progressive taxation proposals. Raising taxes on corporations and high earners to fund social programs. Public safety reforms. Social justice. Inclusive policies around race, immigration, and minority rights. This platform resonated with many in a city struggling with rising rents, inequality, and cost of living pressures. How he campaigned a grassroots plus social movement. According to media coverage, Mamdani's campaign relied heavily on ground-level grassroots organizing, especially among young voters, minorities, renters, and working-class communities. His campaign built what was described as a volunteer army, door-knocking, neighborhood canvassing, direct conversations, not heavy reliance on big money or traditional establishment politics. This grassroots approach allowed him to mobilize communities often underrepresented in NYC elections, especially younger voters, renters, and immigrants. Many analysts credit this outreach plus message of affordability, housing justice, and systemic reform for his rise. The upset, beating establishment plus old guard. In the June 2025 Democratic primary, Mamdani defeated former Governor Andrew Cuomo, a heavyweight in New York politics. Many saw that as improbable. Then, in the general election November 2025, Mamdani won first place with just over 50% of the vote, defeating Cuomo, who ran as an independent, and the Republican candidate. This made Mamdani Nick's first Muslim mayor, Nick's youngest mayor in over a century, first mayor of South Asian descent, Ugandan-born in NYC's history. Media described his win as one of the biggest upsets in recent American political history, a turning point that showed progressive, grassroots socialist-leaning politics could win big in a major global metropolis. About Trump, some media dubbed him Trump's worst nightmare, not because he directly ran against Trump, but because his progressive, anti-establishment, pro-working people agenda stands in sharp contrast to Trump's politics and appeals to demographics often targeted by Trump's rhetoric. So while he didn't defeat Trump in a head-to-head election, his victory is widely seen as a symbolic defeat of the kind of populist, conservative politics that Trump represents. what he's doing now and what he plans for the future. Since his win, Mamdani has laid out a bold set of priorities and early actions, many aimed at addressing affordability, homelessness, social justice, and city services. Some early moves and plans. He has pledged to stop all sweeps of homeless encampments, reversing a major policy from the previous administration. Instead of removing people's shelters, he proposes focusing on permanent housing solutions and supportive housing, emphasizing stability over displacement, on public safety and policing. While some of his proposals are still under discussion, his administration signals interest in comprehensive public safety reform, balancing security with social interventions and community support. On housing and rent, he aims to preserve and expand rent-stabilized and affordable housing, freeze rents where possible, and push for pro-tenant legislation to shield working and lower-income New Yorkers from displacement. On transit and cost of living, he plans to expand fare-free or low-cost public transport buses, making mobility affordable especially for working-class New Yorkers. On economic justice, a $30 minimum wage target by 2030, expanded social services, city-run grocery stores, and tax reforms aimed at corporations and high earners to fund social programs and equity initiatives. In public statements, Mamdani has said his win is a mandate for big change, that the people of New York want affordability, fairness, housing justice, and a government that serves everyone, not just the wealthy. He's also faced resistance and scrutiny, especially from political opponents and some real estate interests concerned about tax hikes and housing policies. So far, he is focused on building a coalition of progressive lawmakers, community organizations, and grassroots supporters to push his agenda. What he didn't do: clarifying misconceptions. He did not defeat Donald Trump in an election. Mamdani's race was for New York City mayor, not a national or presidential race. References to defeating Trump are symbolic, meaning his political win is seen by many as a blow against the style of politics Trump represents. His win does not guarantee all proposed reforms will be easy or immediate. NYC is large, complex, and many policies, housing, minimum wage, transit, require long-term legislative, budgetary, and bureaucratic efforts. What Mamdani's victory means more broadly: his win is widely interpreted as a major shift toward progressive, socialist-leaning politics in one of America's biggest cities. This could embolden similar campaigns elsewhere, especially among younger voters, immigrants, renters, working-class communities. Media has called it one of the great upsets and a sign of changing demographics and political attitudes in urban America. It signals that grassroots organizing, strong community outreach, and focusing on affordability and social justice can overcome money, name recognition, and traditional political power. Of a lesson for political newcomers. It reinscribes NYC politics around issues many felt had been ignored for too long: housing, inequality, cost of living, transit, social welfare, showing that these issues resonate when the campaign speaks to real needs. Here's a more accurate and fact-based overview of Zoran Mamdani, his background, his political rise, relations with Donald J. Trump, what defeat over Trump means and what it doesn't, and what Mamdani is doing now, plans for the near future. I also point out where public discourse mixes symbolic framing versus legal political reality. Who is Zoran Mamdani? Background and biography. Basic info. Full name: Zoran Quaim Mamdani. Born October 18, 1991, in Kampala, Uganda. Parents: his mother is Myra Nair, a well-known Indian-American film director, and his father is Mahmoud Mamdani, a distinguished academic and author. Childhood and education. His family moved to New York City when he was young. He attended the Bank Street School for Children, then Bronx High School of Science, and later enrolled at Bowdoin College in Maine. He graduated in 2014 with a bachelor's degree in Africana Studies. Early career. Before entering electoral politics, Mamdani worked as a foreclosure prevention housing counselor in Queens, helping low-income homeowners, giving him early exposure to housing inequality and the struggles of working-class communities in NYC. Political identity. He is affiliated with the Democratic Party and also identifies with democratic socialist ideology. He's associated with the Democratic Socialists of America. Early political career. In 2020, Mamdani ran for the New York State Assembly District 36, covering parts of Queens including Astoria and Long Island City, and defeated a four-term incumbent in the Democratic primary. He then won the general election. He was re-elected without opposition in 2022 and 2024. As Assembly member, he supported progressive policies, housing reform, tenant protections, public transit accessibility, anti-eviction efforts, and more. Personal background and identity. His multicultural background, Ugandan birthplace, Indian heritage through his parents, raised in New York, gives him a global perspective. He became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 2018. His mayoral campaign and victory, what he ran on. In October 2024, Mamdani announced his candidacy for mayor of New York City. Key platform promises: affordability and housing, freeze rents for tenants in rent-stabilized apartments, massively expand affordable housing, transit and public services, fare-free city buses, expanded public transport accessibility, economic justice, raise minimum wage, long-term goal of $30 per hour by 2030, social safety nets, city-owned grocery stores to reduce cost of living, universal public child care, services for working class and immigrant communities, progressive social policies, support for civil rights, immigrant rights, inclusive governance, and public safety reform. Despite relatively low initial name recognition, his campaign gained momentum in part because of a savvy social media presence, grassroots organizing, outreach to younger voters, immigrants, renters, and working-class communities. In June 2025, he won the Democratic primary in a surprise upset over former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Then in the November 2025 general election, he was elected mayor, becoming NYC's first Muslim and first South Asian mayor, and its youngest in decades. According to observers, his victory marked a significant shift in American urban politics, seen as a win for progressive, grassroots-driven, working-class, and immigrant-focused policies. Mamdani versus Trump. What happened, what it means. The clash: rhetorical, political, not legal or electoral. During Mamdani's mayoral campaign, then-President Donald J. Trump publicly criticized him. Trump reportedly threatened to withhold federal funding from NYC if Mamdani won. Trump endorsed Mamdani's opponent. In public discourse, many supporters and political commentators framed Mamdani's win as a symbolic defeat of Trump-style politics, a blow to populist conservative influence in America's largest city. What defeated Trump actually means and what it doesn't. Mamdani did not run against Trump in an election. He ran for New York City mayor. The election was city level, not national. There was no direct head-to-head contest between them. The victory over Trump is symbolic, political, meaning Mamdani's progressive, immigrant-friendly, working-class-oriented agenda prevailed over the political vision endorsed by Trump in that city race. It reflects a shift in voter sentiment, especially among younger, diverse, and urban populations, not a legal or presidential defeat of Trump. So while it's not accurate to say Mamdani defeated Trump as in a presidential or national contest, his win is widely viewed as a major political and ideological blow to the kind of politics Trump represents, at least in New York City's context. What Mamdani is doing now and what he plans for the future as of late 2025, early 2026. Since his mayoral win, Mamdani has started outlining major agenda items and signal policies his administration will pursue. Housing and homelessness. He has pledged to end city sweeps of homeless encampments, reversing a policy of the outgoing mayor, arguing that clearing camps without offering permanent housing is ineffective and inhumane. His long-term housing agenda includes rent protections for tenants, expanded affordable housing, and measures to keep working-class and immigrant renters secure. Transit, cost of living and social welfare. Proposed fare-free or greatly reduced cost public transit for buses and potentially more, to ease the burden on lower-income and working-class New Yorkers. Support for city-owned grocery stores or affordable food programs to reduce food costs. Plans for economic justice policies, raising minimum wage long-term, strengthening labor rights, social safety nets, and public service investments. governance, social justice, and inclusion. Focus on inclusive governance, supporting immigrant rights, civil rights, social justice, and representation for marginalized and working-class communities. Promises of progressive reforms in police oversight, public safety balanced with civil liberties, and investments in community-led initiatives. National symbolic impact. Mamdani's mayoralty signals a broader shift in U.S. urban politics, showing that grassroots, progressive, social justice-oriented campaigns can win major cities. Political analysts see his victory as a potential template for future progressive campaigns, especially in diverse, multicultural, working-class urban. His administration may shape debates around immigration, housing, income inequality, urban governance, and federal-city relations, especially given his public disagreements with Trump-era federal policies, challenges, and tensions ahead. It's not all smooth sailing. There are big challenges ahead for Mamdani's administration. Reversing policies like homeless sweeps is controversial. Balancing compassion, public order, and resources will be tough. As mayor, trying to implement sweeping reforms, rent freezes, fare free transit, minimum wage hikes, expanded welfare will face institutional, bureaucratic, budgetary, and political headwinds. National-level friction. Debates with federal government, especially if Trump remains president. Decisions about funding, immigration enforcement, and federal-city cooperation may become flashpoints. Public scrutiny. As a young, progressive mayor, he'll be under heavy pressure to deliver results quickly. Expectations will be high, especially from communities that backed him. Summary: what we know, and what defeat of Trump actually means. Zoran Mamdani is a real, established politician with roots in community organizing, housing advocacy, and progressive politics. His 2025 mayoral win is real, significant, and historic. First Muslim and South Asian mayor of New York City, youngest in recent decades. His defeat of Trump is symbolic. In context of city politics, not a national election. It's about political philosophy and local governance, not a direct electoral head-to-head. His plans as mayor are ambitious, aimed at addressing long-term structural problems of inequality, housing, evictions, cost of living, and social justice. The real test begins now, implementing those promises in a city as complex and contradictory as New York.